Hey everyone. So just a little bit on how this all looks in the wild. Uh, if you look here, you can see a page of SentinelOne. So we're going to use that as an example. So firstly, we get a lot of questions about what Andrew mentioned. There's two types of reviews that you'll see on the marketplace, right? There's the third-party reviews and the first-party reviews. So what's the difference between the two of those? You could see here, there's a review that says review provided by PeerSpot.com. It still has all that great content and has the star rating, all that stuff on the side, but that actually doesn't go into that star rating you're seeing on the left, right? Anything that says PeerSpot or anything else, it's not going to go into that ranking, star rating, and the number of reviews. What's going in there is actually what you see on the left side, where you see those two arrows where it says AWS reviews. And those are actually now also being collected by PeerSpot. So that's the really cool thing about this partnership. It's not that it's not only that you're getting all that great content like Andrew showed, which is happening, that it's going to be helping you with competencies, which we'll get to later, that it's going to be going into all those engines, but actually it's going to help you have that higher star rating, which was really, really difficult for folks earlier, and you'll see that in a second. It's going to help you get that up your review rankings and make the page actually look much more exciting to people who are coming to read it. A really cool thing that you'll see on the next slide is just a good example. So when I talk about, how it was very difficult, here's an example from SentinelOne, right? They're a huge cyber company, very successful, great brand awareness. Before the partnership, they actually didn't have a star rating or any AWS reviews. You can see, like I mentioned, they had those third-party or external reviews. There were a lot of them, but anyone who's coming there browsing through, they would just see zero, which is a shame because there were a lot of companies that were in that position that were really great companies. They had great customer feedback, but they just didn't know how to get those first-party reviews. So there are two ways that can happen, right? Number one, which you'll see in a second, is if anyone leaves a review on the marketplace, that obviously automatically will go into the first-party review, and I'll show you that in a minute. And the second part is actually when we're working together with customers or when somebody comes into PeerSpot, we will also verify if a customer has a relationship with the marketplace or is deployed on the marketplace. And those reviews will automatically, or as Andrew likes to say often, automatically go onto the AWS marketplace. And they will actually say, when somebody looks at it, it won't say PeerSpot review, it will say AWS Verified review. So it's a really amazing way that people have the ability to impact those star ratings, to impact their ranking on the marketplace, that while it was possible previously, it was just very difficult and people weren't doing a good job of it. And we're starting to see that it's happening, and it's amazing for many of our customers and other people as well. Again, we're proactively working on the whole marketplace to make sure that we're able to improve those star ratings and rankings on all those pages. So in the next page, this is the piece which I think is very, very, very cool. So right now, and this is how we've been collecting reviews for 13 years, like Andrew said. If anybody goes and clicks leave a review on the marketplace, and by the way, I highly, highly recommend you all trying this, but for products that you use, because we'll flag it and it won't get listed otherwise. You'll see there are three options to leave a review, and I'm going to actually go from the bottom up. So you can write a review, in all honesty, for obvious reasons. Most people don't do that anymore because, it's just you have to type it up. It's a lot of work. It's less comfortable. There's the second piece, which is speak to an analyst. That's something which Andrew mentioned we've been doing for about 12, 13 years. We have analysts that are really, really expert, not only at doing interviews, but asking the right questions to make sure we get a great piece of content that will help influence people who are coming to look at it, that AWS now is able to take and drive all of those different content engines and pages that Andrew spoke about. Then the top part is something which we've recently launched, and this is super exciting. So I know there are a lot of different types of agents and bots that you may be familiar with that can, speak to people. This is something that is totally different. We actually built our own agent that is trained on two things. It's trained on all of our reviews. So we have tons and tons of great content, great customer content that we've been collecting for the past 12, 13 years. And it's trained on all of that. So it's really, more of an expert probably than any human analyst. And the second part of that is that we actually implemented the same methodology that our interviewers were using, and we trained it on that as well. And what we've been seeing is, A, it's just a really cool experience. But B, the reviews are actually as good and if not better than we've been getting with human analysts, which is a very, very cool thing to see. Again, it's a very, very cool experience. And it's great because, you can just click and do it right there. Whereas what you used to have to do is schedule it. So all of those things make it a really, really quick, painless, and actually enjoyable experience. And what you end up getting are those types of reviews, which you saw previously. So here's just an example of that. So we kind of went backwards, so I don't have to say my little joke that I always say, but normally when I'm showing people these reviews, if you look on the left side, you can see it's actually super extensive. This is, by the way, again, why this can help you, and we'll get into that in a second with the competencies and with all that content. It really is a piece of content. It's almost like it's a case study. And the other piece of that is that, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second, but I'm gonna pick it up. So yeah, we could go to the next slide. Sorry about that. So this is the
big exciting part, yes.
Yes, the big exciting part. So we've been hearing a lot about competencies. And when we started bringing it up, we actually we're telling customers that they can take our reviews and turn them into case studies, where we have for many, many years, because of the way we're collecting them and the content that you have there, people were using them as case studies. So we implemented on our site where you can click on it and download a case study. And that was really exciting because AWS was like, oh, that's great. We can use this for competencies. And it was super exciting for our customers. But now we don't even necessarily need to do that because they're all pre-validated by us. All of the reviews that are going onto the marketplace are actually already validated as AWS customers. They know that it's real. There's no funny business going on there. That combined with the content has actually allowed them to allow their sellers to use that for the competency programs. So that's super exciting that you no longer have to go and get those case studies and have people deal with legal departments and all of the hoops that people have to jump into in order to get those very specific case studies to use for your competencies. You can actually take that link that we mentioned. You can start getting your customers to talk to us, talk to the agent, have those reviews coming in that are going to do all of those exciting things that we were showing you earlier. But then the cherry on top is that will actually help you with your competencies. So that's something that's super exciting. And I'm sure Andrew probably has a little more to add to that because it's his baby.
Well, this is something that Kyle and I were talking about, is helping as people scale. Like maybe when you're first getting listed, look, you don't want to have 0 reviews. You just want to have 3. You want to have 5. You don't want to be empty, right? And so, okay, well, that's great. Let's work with you to get you 3 or 5 reviews. That's no problem. Then there's the next level up. Maybe it's the 201 where it's like, okay, now you're starting to lean in. You've worked with the sugar team. You're starting to understand more about how things operate in the marketplace. I will not be an expert and even try to go down that path, but I do know that competencies play into that. And one of the big hard parts, 80% is all that you're doing on the technical side. And then you get everything done. And then you have to wait 4 months, 3 months, sometimes 6 months to get the right customer and get the right story on the record. And that's where that time frame, I know it's only 20%, but the time frame at the end there, that 3 to 6 months can go away in a day or 2 with being able to utilize the AWS reviews provided by PeerSpot.
Yeah, Andrew, I think that's really important because with each one of these competencies, AWS gives MDF funds too. So the longer it takes you to get that competency completed, the less time you have to spend that money, during that 1 year period, right? And keeping those competencies every year, you have to, with each one of these competencies, there's a certain number of case studies that have to be done. What I love about your platform is the ability to build those case studies really easy from the reviews to be able to submit to get these competencies. You don't have to, sometimes it's really hard to get a case study built and submitted to finish out the competency. With PeerSpot, that goes away. You just literally turn those reviews into a case study instantly, and you've met your requirement for the competency.
Yeah, and we work with a lot of security companies who, the first thing they ask and kind of bring up is, well, wait a minute. It's really tough for my customers to like kind of say what they're doing, to go on the record. How do you do that? And part of it is we're a third party. We're not you asking them and having to go through legal. It's a third party. They're giving their experience. We also allow people to go incognito, if you will. And then we allow them to give their name and company where they're from. And then we allow them to give just, the type of company and their job role, right? And so, in fact, it's funny, 70% of all of our reviews, and this is usually a shock when we're early stage talking to someone, 70% of our customers are able to get, we have reviews that are named. And it is a very big surprise. And so that's something that comes up, especially with competencies, because usually you have to provide one or two kind of private customer stories and then 1, 2, or 3 public ones. And so it's like we take care of all of that.
Yeah, that's huge. Big time saver.